Hello there, Mr. Sutton here with the IM3 Honors 4-6 Extra Practice Number 2 Solutions on Quadratic Inequalities.
For this problem, trying to graph this quadratic inequality, let's start by finding the vertex. So we've got negative b over 2a because this is in standard form. So that's going to be negative 2 over 2 times the a value negative 1. That's negative 2 over negative 2, which is positive 1. And then plugging that back in to get the y value that goes with it, we've got negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. Positive 1 plus another 2 is going to give us 3. So we have 1 comma 3 for the vertex. Since there's no equals in the inequality, that's going to be an open dot on 1 comma 3, so that's right here. And we'll use the y-intercept for another point. That's this constant of 2. So 0 comma 2 is our y-intercept, and that's right here. And then using symmetry, we get one more point on the other side of the vertex, same distance away as the y-intercept was, so right there. We have a dashed line through some open dots. And since my inequality is greater than, I'm going to shade everything above this parabola. To get this inequality graphed, I'm going to start by finding the vertex of the parabola. So that's negative b over 2a. So negative 4 over 2 times 2. This is 4 over 4, which is going to be 1. And let me plug that back in to get the y value of the vertex. So we've got 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2. We have 2 minus 4, which is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 3 gives us positive 1. So our vertex then is 1 comma 1. And there's no equals under the inequality, so that's an open dot on 1 comma 1. So right there. Let me use the y-intercept, which is this 3 constant here. So 0 comma 3 to get another point. So that's right there. And using symmetry, we go on the opposite side of the axis of symmetry to get our third point right there. So we have a dashed line through the open dots. Since my inequality is less than, I'm going to shade below that parabola. To start this quadratic inequality problem, let me find the vertex with negative b over 2a. So that's negative 4 over 2 times the a value 2. That's 4 over 4, which is 1. Plugging in 1 to get the y value, we have 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2. This is 2 minus 4, so that's negative 2. Negative 2 plus 5 is going to give us 3. So 1 comma 3 is our vertex. And since there's no equals under the inequality, that is an open dot on 1 comma 3 right there. To get another point, I'm going to use the y-intercept. That's this c value, constant, 5. So that's 0 comma 5. And that's right here on the y-axis. And then using symmetry, I'm going to go 1 away from the axis of symmetry to the right. So same height, just on the other side of the vertex. And there's our third point. So now using a dashed line through the open dots and looking at my inequality, I see that this is greater than. So that means I'm going to shade above the parabola. To graph this parabola, let me start by finding the vertex with negative b over 2a. So that's negative 2 over 2 times the a value negative 1/2. This is, let's see here, 2 times negative 1/2 is negative 1. So negative 2 over negative 1 gives me positive 2. Plugging that back into the original to get the y value, we've got 2 squared, which is 4. Negative 1/2 of that is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 4 is positive 2. And positive 2 plus another 2 gives us 4. So we have the vertex 2 comma 4. There is a equals under the inequality. So that's a solid dot at 2 comma 4. So that's going to be right here, solid dot. And then I have a y-intercept at 2. That's this constant here. So at 0 comma 2, I can put another point. So that's right here. And then using symmetry, I go over to the other side of the vertex and have another dot that mirrors my y-intercept I just drew. Using a solid line through those solid dots, there's my parabola. And now to see which side I shade, I look at the inequality. It says y is greater than. That means I'm shading all the y values above the parabola I just drew, like so. To start the graphing process on this quadratic inequality, let me find the vertex with negative b over 2a. So that's going to be negative b value of 2 over 2 times the a value 1, invisible 1 right there. This is negative 2 over positive 2, which is negative 1. Plugging that back into the original, we have negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 2. So this is going to be positive 1. Positive 1 minus 2 is negative 1. And then negative 1 minus that last 2 gives us negative 3. So our vertex then is negative 1 comma negative 3. And we're going to graph that using a solid dot because I have the equals under the inequality. So solid dot at negative 1 comma negative 3. And now I can use the y-intercept of negative 2, this constant here, 0 comma negative 2. That'll give me another point. So that's going to be right here. And then using symmetry, I have another dot on the other end of the vertex. So over here, that's my third dot using symmetry. And then let me use a solid line through the solid dots. Since my inequality is y greater than, I'm going to shade everything above the parabola I just drew. To graph this inequality, let's go ahead and find the vertex with negative b over 2a. So that's going to be negative negative 4 over 2 times this invisible negative 1 here. So that's positive 4 over negative 2, which is negative 2. To get the y value of the vertex, let's plug negative 2 back into the original expression. So that gives me, let's see, negative 2 squared is 4, but we have a negative out in front. So that's negative 4 plus 8 is going to give us positive 4. Positive 4 minus the 8 at the end gives us negative 4 again. So we have negative 2 comma negative 4 for the vertex. And my inequality is no equals. So we have an open dot on negative 2 comma negative 4. So that's right there. And then for the y-intercept, which gives me another point, that's going to be this constant negative 8. So 0 comma negative 8 is my y-intercept. And that's down here. And since this y-intercept is 2 away from this axis of symmetry, I'm going to go 2 in the other direction to get a mirror point over here. This is my third point, just using symmetry with the y-intercept. Now I can use a dashed line through these open dots. And my inequality is less than. That means I'm going to graph below the parabola for this one.